Hey everyone. This morning I'm going to show you a little shoulder mobility drill that I do before bench press or other upper body work. It's also great for squats to get that external rotation going. So here we go. So usually I will start with 10 pass-throughs. So get your hands nice and wide on the bar. Come up and over. You want to try and make sure it's pretty even. So if you need to start really, really wide, do that. You want to make sure there's no pivoting from side to side, and you also want to make sure that your elbows don't bend. So you'll find a sticking point usually when you come back. Try and make sure that you keep those arms straight. If you're able to do it nice and even, go ahead and narrow up your grip just a little bit. And I would recommend doing as many reps as you need to until your shoulders feel like they can go through the whole motion without cheating through the sticking point. And you can get a little narrower on each one until you get to a point where, oh, I can't go that far. You can just kind of go wide again. So next, I'm going to do some behind the head press. Again, with these, I'm going to start pretty wide, so my hand is pretty much at the end of the bar. I'm going to bring the bar up overhead, and now I'm going to bring it down onto my shoulders, pretty high up on my shoulders. So with this, I want to keep my elbows tucked under the bar as opposed to let my shoulders round forward. So from the side, that kind of looks like this as opposed to this. So just going to do a few reps with a nice wide grip. Then I'm going to narrow up my hands just a little bit. Do a few more reps there. And then once I'm loose in each position, I'm just going to get my hands a little bit narrower. So I'm starting to feel like this is getting more difficult. I'm feeling some muscle fatigue. I like to end in a place that's pretty close to my squat grip. So for me, that's pretty narrow. Again, my elbows are tucked under instead of flared out, just like with your squat. Make sure you're not arching your back, so really squeeze your butt. All right, so now that I'm done with those, I'm going to do what I call diagonal pass-throughs. I'm guessing there's probably a name for these, like most things, trainers call them different things. I call them diagonal pass-throughs, but you may have seen these somewhere else with a different name. So again, I'm taking my bar really nice and wide, and I'm going to bring it over my head on one side, and then back with the other arm. So with these, again, I'm making sure that I don't bend my elbow. And you can go narrower with these if you like, but it does make it much more difficult. And you might not do them as well. So with these, I usually just stay pretty wide because it's a pretty large movement to make it all the way around your body. You make sure you do both sides, so just go ahead and do the mirror image of what you just did. I'm hitting myself a lot with these today for some reason. So usually once I've done like 5 to 8 on each side, I'm ready to move on. Here, we're going to do what, again, you may have seen this as a different name. I call it the yoke windmill. So whenever you have a dowel and you're holding it up kind of like this, you've got a lot of tension. Your arms are completely extended to the sides. And what we're going to do here is you're going to reach down without losing the contact with the bar, so you don't want to let your elbows go. You're really reaching your arms out as wide as they'll go. And you're just going to bend down and touch your toe. So this is great for those of us who can't do windmills particularly well, this kind of forces your arm to stay vertical in the air because you have an external stabilizer. So this is great for lateral spinal flexion as well as thoracic rotation. Neither of these are my strong suits, so I don't particularly like these. Most of us don't really like things that we're not good at. So you might find that you also really don't like these because most people aren't super great at windmills, but they are important, and this is a way to do them that you know you're doing them well. It's hard to cheat on this one. So once I'm done with that, I'm gonna kind of release my death grip on the bar. I'm just gonna hold it overhead, and I'm gonna do the same thing. So this allows me to cheat a little bit more, and that's okay. These don't need to be perfect. Really the point of these is to get a little more shoulder movement through lateral spinal flexion and just focus on getting more range of motion. So again, I don't super love these, but they are a lot. I can feel that they are definitely beneficial before I do a heavy set of deadlifts or squats. I just want to make sure that my spine isn't super stiff. All right, so those are those. Now I like to do a good morning in that same fully long arm position. So you can kind of see these best from the side. So again, I'm really reaching out to both sides with my arms. Now I'm just gonna do a simple hip hinge, like a good morning. I'm gonna come and lock my hips out at the top. So I get a little bit of a hamstring stretch here. This is also pretty challenging on the balance if you're not used to doing this kind of movement. And you're also just working on moving your hips and your spine in a position that your shoulders wouldn't normally have to work through. And by that I just mean usually when you're doing a good morning or anything with a hip hinge, your hands are here or your hands are here. Your hands are not usually, your shoulders are not usually in this position. So, a couple more of those. And then next, the one I hate the most, I know I'm really selling this drill, back bending, because this is another one that I'm not good at. So a lot of these things are things that I don't super enjoy because I really need them. Usually the things we don't enjoy are the things that we're not great at, so we need them more. So don't avoid things just because you don't like them or are not good at them. I'm going to set the example here by doing some back bending. So I'm just going to, oh, God, I hate these. You might not be as bad at these as I am, so don't let me dissuade you. Oh, God. One more. Oh, God, I hate those. Okay.